This is the French artist Claude Monet. He was an impressionist, and impressionists often would paint outside, and we call that en plein air. This is at his house where he's got lots of water lilies in a pond beneath a bridge, and this is just a few of his water lilies that he's most famous for. He used a lot of pastel colors. It made them look very bright, beautiful. But what Claude Monet liked most was painting water. And he would even do that from his little houseboat. Now, when he painted the water, you could often see the reflections of boats, of houses, and you can even see waves crashing on the shore and the movement of the waves themselves. Okay, today, kindergarten and first grade, we're going to work on a seascape. So we're going to get something a little bit like this, or however you want it to look. This is just basic seascape with a nice blue sky and a nice blue, dark blue ocean. We're going to put a boat in there and just see where it kind of comes out. All right, so let's get started. So I lay down a paper just to catch my paint. If I happen to go off the page, I'm going to move it over just a little bit. And I'm going to use a pencil and I'm going to draw a horizon line. Now, what is a horizon line? Horizon line is a line that separates the sky from the ocean or the sky from the land. In this case, it's going to be the sky from the ocean. So you can draw it right in the middle if you feel like it, or you can draw it below where you have a little bit less ocean and more sky. Or you can maybe make a little less sky and more ocean, whatever you want to do. I'll draw mine just right in the middle to give it a little bit of an evenness to both. Okay, pretty easy. All right, and there's our line. Now what I'm going to do is just lay out a paper towel. I'll flip mine over a little bit. Now you can choose whatever you want to work on. So if you choose that you want to work on tempera paint, you can do that. Acrylic paint, watercolor paint, or if you don't have any of those, use marker or crayon or oil pastel or whatever you have. If you don't have paint and you really, really want to use it, you can use marker and a little bit of water to kind of spread it around. All right, so what I'm using today is a little bit of acrylic paint because I actually don't have tempera paint. So I have a little bit of white, light blue, and some dark blue. Whatever kind of blues you have is totally up to you. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint my sky. I'm going to choose to paint it a light blue. This is just my choice. It could be different for you. So I'm going to take a little bit of a bigger brush, okay, something like this. Not really big. Whatever you have, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm going to wet it, grab my light blue, and I'm just going to start painting my sky. So I can go up and down, I can go back and forth, but I'm not going past that horizon line. Okay, and I'm just dipping in and just painting it back and forth. Now, acrylic paint is usually a little bit thicker, but I chose to add a little bit of water so I could just water it down a little bit and spread it a little bit easier. Okay, just getting that across my paper. Now, we're going to add some clouds. Now, you can choose to let this dry, or you can choose to add your clouds right away. So let's see what that looks like when we add it right away. Get that little bit left there. And then I'm going to rinse my brush out really good. And I'm going to wipe it with a paper towel. And I can use what's here, or I can choose to just dab it off in a paper towel itself. Okay, so I'm going to grab some white. Oops. And if you can see that, my white is over here. Whoop, there goes my blue. So I'm just gonna pat it around, or I can kind of move it, kind of like a puffy cloud. Pat it, whatever is going to work for you, whatever you feel like doing. They can be big, Maybe you have a bunch of small clouds. It's really up to you. Maybe you have a little bit of a mixture of both. And remember, this is wet paint, so I'm going right in even though it's wet. It's up to you if you want to wait till it's dry. If you want to get a little bit of the blue mixed in with your white, that's okay. Okay, you are the artist. And however many clouds you choose to add, again, up to you. You're the artist. Okay, so I'm just going to add just a little bit more. I'm really going to make this a really, really puffy, cloudy day. Okay, so totally up to you. All right. Now the ocean, again, it could be dark blue, maybe it's greenish, whatever you choose. I happen to make mine dark blue. So for me, I'm just going to water it down a little bit so that it's not too thick. And I'm just going to paint it over this part down here. And I am running off my page a little bit just so I get my edges. And that's why I have the paper towel down. I'm just going to get that painted all the way across. So I squeeze out my paints a little bit before, and I know what colors I'm going to use. And I don't need to use a whole lot of paint. So if you can see, it's kind of spreading around a little bit, but I didn't use a ton of paint. All right, and I just do my back and forth or up and down, whichever direction you choose. Just painting it back and forth. And notice I do go back a little bit over my white spots, but most of the time I'm just only painting my white spots. Okay? So you don't want to spend too much time painting over things. Sometimes if we go over too much, we wear a hole in the paper, and that's not so good, right? Okay, so I just want to show you one more thing here. Whoops, reaching across. Sorry about that. I've got one here that I did with crayon and watercolor. So I just scribbled around with my crayon, real heavy, real dark, and I went over it with some watercolor. You can also do that with marker and water if you choose to. Same thing for down here. Go ahead and do some nice dark colors over here. It could even just be crayon, could be watercolor, could be marker and water. Whatever you choose. It does not have to be tempera or acrylic paint. Okay? So we're going to let that dry, and then I'm going to just show you a really simple thing that we can do to make a boat. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Okay, friends, so we're back here. I've let this dry a little bit. This is actually one of the ones that I did a little bit earlier. So this is my ocean, and this is my sky. I want to get a little bit of a boat in there, and I'm thinking a lot about Monet and his beautiful ocean kind of pictures with the boats in it. And I'm also thinking a little bit about Max and the story about sailing across the sea from weeks and into years over and across to where the wild things are. So let's do a little bit with our boats. So I have a shape here, and this, I'm going to call this a trapezoid. So what I basically did was I made a rectangle, and then I kind of just went zoop, 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 zoop with my scissor, and I just kind of cut my corners. So I'm going to show you how to do that to make a trapezoid. So you can choose any paper that you want. I happen to have a lot of wallpaper, so I use that. You can use wrapping paper. Tissue paper is a little bit hard to work with. Colored paper, anything that you want. You could even paint yourself some paper. So what I like to do is turn it over, okay? And then you're going to take your pencil and you're just going to draw yourself a nice rectangle. And the best way to do that is to find yourself a nice straight edge. You can use a ruler or you can just draw. And you want to see, how big is my picture? Well, it's not super, super big, so I don't want to go super, super big on my rectangle. So maybe my rectangle is about this long. Okay, I'm going to draw my line across. And you can just draw it the way that you want to draw it. And I just drew it without a ruler. Oh my goodness. But if you want to use a ruler or the help of someone else, certainly do that. Okay, and then we're going to cut it out. This one's not super even, but that's okay. Hey, we're just learning sometimes, and sometimes it's neat to just do it our own way, right? So let's get that guy cut out. Okay, now there's my rectangle. Now I want to try, turn it over this time, I'm going to try to cut it into that trapezoid shape. So do you see this corner here? I'm going to go and move over a little bit, and I'm going to cut to that corner. So I'm making a diagonal line, boop, and I cut that off. Same thing over here. Let's cut to that corner. Okay, Mrs. Snyder, you can't do that. Let's see if this works. Nope. So I'll cut from the corner down. How's that? You will cut from the corner up. So I went right from my corner. And I'm going to cut down this time. Boop. Okay, and there is my trapezoid shape. That's going to be my boat. All right. So what I can do is place that where I choose it to be. Over here, maybe it's sailing. Maybe it's over here more. Kind of like it over here. I don't always like everything right in the middle, and not everything has to be in the middle. So you decide where you want yours to be. Okay, next step. Find a different paper or color a different paper that you want for your sails. So what I chose to do was a red, and I made some triangles. Now I used the same size triangle. Okay, and we're going to see how to do that. So again, flip that paper over. And what you want to do is try to find that straight part of your paper. That's really going to help you. You don't have to draw that side. Okay, so I'm actually going to take something a little bit darker so you can see it. Let's see, what do I have here? I'll use a black pen this time. And again, I want to just see how big my boat is. So I'm going to start up here. And I'm going to make a diagonal line. Now, if only that would work. Let's try a different one. How about a green one? And I'm going to draw a diagonal line. I'm just going to cut that out. Okay, and then I'm going to trace this to make my next triangle. Okay, but the only thing I want to do is flip it over. Now, if I want to, I could just line it right up on that straight edge. Boop, just like that. Okay, and then we'll cut this one out. So then I have two that are the same. Okay, now not only do I want to put these on here, well, these are pretty big, but that's okay. They can be any size that you feel like having them to be. And then what I want to do is I want to have something that goes in between the two of them. So I can choose a different paper, or I can use the same, maybe the same one. Or here's a different piece, and I'm just going to cut a skinny rectangle. Let's check it out. I'm going to just try and keep that straight if I can, and if I can, I can just draw a line, and let's see what that looks like. Now my triangles are pretty tall, but that's okay. Move these guys aside. I kind of like them that big. And then what I want to do is put this in between. I'm going to let this touch the boat. Now, it's a bit too long. It goes right off my paper. That's okay. What I can do is just draw a little line where I want to cut it, and then take that, pull it up, give it a snip. Okay, not too bad. Let's see if I can get this boat all the way down. Put this line here. I can let my sails, my triangles, hover above my boat a little bit because they don't actually touch the boat. Okay, so they're going to hover a little bit above it. This line's going to touch my boat. Okay, something kind of like that. And then what we would do is glue that into place. Now, if you want to have Max or even you on that boat, you want to make a little person that's you, or if you even have a picture that's you and you want to put that in there, that would be awesome. Okay, but this is just a real simple kind of picture. A little bit like Monet, a little bit like the boat that maybe Max sailed on. Okay, so just something fun to do for our transportation unit, and a great book to go by as well. All right, my friends, I hope you have a great time with this, and I can't wait to see what you post.